This week's Parshas are Parshas Achrei and Kedoshim. There was Naim La Torah, the Lutzkarov of Zalman Soroskin, in a very insightful and, as usual, brilliant analysis of the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 psukim in Parshas Kedoshim, which go as follows. Daber al kol adas b'nei Yisrael. First it says, Daber Hashem al Moshe Lemar. Daber al kol adas b'nei Yisrael v'yamar to alayhem kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem alakechem. First pasuk. Second pasuk. Ish imay v'aviv tirol v'shapsoisai tishmoiru ani Hashem alakechem. Third pasuk. Al tifnu el ha'elilim v'elohei masechol lo sasu lachem ani Hashem alakechem. The question he raises is, what's the purpose of using this such incredibly inclusive term, Daber el kol adas b'nei Yisrael? So he says here, the proper behavior, or the proper qualifications of an outstanding leader, a manhig, is that he has an influence on all aspects, all members of his community, of his flock, of his Eidah, of his congregation. He's able to talk to each and every part of his society successfully, not only to one group or another group. And in point of fact, there's always been an interesting question, which he doesn't raise, but I'll raise it here. What is the purpose of a leader? To come down to the level of the people, or to raise the people up to his level? And he says what's interesting to learn from is Moshe Rabbeinu. He was successful in both of these. Number one, what's the first thing that Moshe Rabbeinu said? Daber el kol adas b'nei Yisrael means speaking to everybody. Okay? And there's a seder to it. First of all, he has to find those people who are outstanding members of society, the people who are the big tzaddikim, tamid chachamim, to those people who have a preparation and a yediyah and a hanhaga and a maisim, which are people of kedusha. And he says, "V'amarta aleihem kedoshim tiyu." When you're speaking to these kind of people, it is sufficient to just tell them and to give them the exhortation, you should be holy. Why? Ki kadosh ani Hashem alakechem. If Hashem is holy, you should be holy. They will be able to grasp that concept in a flash, because their entire lives have been devoted to having dveikus to Kodesh Baruch Hu, being close to Hashem. What is his next job? The next job of the manhig? He has to talk to the people, not quite on that level, but the people, the middle class people, the balabatim, the people who are able to do the avodah, people who do mitzvahs, shamei Torah mitzvahs, and their job is to walk with Derech Hashem. So therefore, what does he do with those people? He gives them practical advice as to what to do. He gives them mitzvahs aseh and mitzvahs lo aseh. Through the development of your mitzvahs aseh and lo aseh, you're able to come close. What does he say here? Ish imav aviv tiro v'shapsei tishmoiru. Mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs lo aseh. So once he's able to collect around him the leadership, the holy people, he then goes together with them, and then he approaches the people in the middle, balabatim, the shamei Torah mitzvahs. He says, you can be greater, you can reach up to Hashem as well. And then, together with this entire tzibur, he's already been able to influence and to show them the proper derech. He can then go even to the people who are far, far away. People who are really off the edge. People right at the edge of the abyss. Ones who are busy doing nothing or wasted their lives, and they don't do anything. And in fact, they're attracted to the lowest forms of error that there is. That's the next pasuk. Tifnu el ha'elilim. Get away from the elilim. Don't make yourselves your own foreign gods, graven images. When you have the whole tzibur around you, and you're able to lift them up to your level, you can then have enough power, enough kedusha, enough influence to speak to these people and say, you can do it too. Even though you're lost limbs and you're far, far away, you can come close to Hashem. Now, where he brings us an interesting raya is, if you look carefully, which you would not notice unless I pointed out to you, unless you're very clever. If you look at these 3 psukim, the last 3 words of these 3 psukim are Ani Hashem Elokechem, Ani Hashem Elokechem, Ani Hashem Elokechem. Grammatically, you don't realize it because it says Ki Kodesh Ani Hashem Elokechem. It's a Tibchamercha. But if you look, he points this out so brilliantly that even though these are 3 people so far apart from each other, they still have a common thread, they still have the common ability, and with the proper influence, with the proper hashpah, we can bring each and every one of these members of society closer to Hashem and bring them up to a level where they will be able to be successful. It's not only true for a leader of Klal Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu. Rashi was able to reach everybody from the highest, biggest Talmid Chacham to the smallest little kid because he had the power and the ability to speak to everyone. Parents have to have the same ability to be able to deal with each and every one of their children on the level that they require and be able to influence them and bring them to the Derech HaTova. Good Shabbos.